When it comes to business throughout the United Kingdom, there's usually two routes to go when you're starting. One of them is to get your business plan, sort it all out yourself, take that jump into business and plough your way through, making mistakes as you go, and then at the end of it, hopefully you've came out the other end and you've got rid of all your learning mistakes and hopefully you can go forward. The other way is to look at joining a franchise. They've already made the mistake, so by the time you get to them and you go through the process, you know from day one that you're on the right track and you're learning from people who've already mastered that industry. This interview, I have had the privilege of meeting a gentleman called Ronan McCool, who is the operations director at Total Clean Franchise. And I asked him some intricate questions about their franchise and what's involved, how it works, how much it costs, earning potentials, so that you, as the viewer, have got that information at hand and you can see the people behind the franchise. So here, welcome Ronan McCool at Entrepreneur TV. Total Clean, established 35 years. You've been with them since when?
2021.
And what was your story before then?
I've been around for a while, as you can see by the receding hairline. But I've been in franchising essentially all my working life. And I've worked in 15, 30 countries. I can't put an exact number to it, but I've often heard it said that my market's different. And I've lived and worked in different countries to know that the principles of business remain the same. And no markets are that much different than other.
The cleaning industry has had huge growth over the last 10 years. Tell us a wee bit about that.
Yeah, well, certainly. I think that as we all become time poor and businesses start to silo themselves, the non-essential activities within business get outsourced. And certainly cleaning is one of those entities that gets outsourced by companies because it's not what they do as a core business. So that has fed into our sector very well. And I can't think of another sector that as soon as you apply that service, it becomes obsolete because the dust comes back immediately. So you're always called back. So we're never going to run out of things to do in the cleaning sector.
Before we go into detail with Total Cleaning things, as I said, it's been established for 35 years and it does quite a bit for charities with charitable causes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, now we're a family-run business, and certainly one of the cornerstones of what we're about as Total Clean is to give back to the community, because it's important that we do, because it's the community from which we employ. And there are many causes out there, but what we found in recent times is that there's been a couple where specifically the hospice area, we've been approached by them to try and come up with some form of partnership because they're finding it very difficult to find the financial support. So we've partnered with a couple, one in St. Helena in Colchester and one in Isabel, which is in St. Albans. Anyway, so we have partnered with them, and what we're doing with this partnership is that 100% of the profits that we make with the Total Clean in Colchester and St. Albans goes directly back into supporting the hospice. On top of that, we've also done a partnership with Charity Boots. It's something that Carlos, through his kids playing football and stuff, he met up with a guy. And what this person does, he is a bus driver, but he is now going to go in full time to work and drive this charity which he started. And that's where he collects boots from professional footballers as well as people who no longer need their boots, and he starts distributing them to the people that need them. And it's not just in the UK, but it's around the world, where he's distributing these boots so that they're being reused. And he found that on a trip to Africa, for example, that the kids were playing soccer with bare feet, and a lot of the damage, the kids were receiving a lot of foot damage because they didn't have protected shoes. So this is what he's done, and we've got these baskets at the major football stadiums where the professional footballers will donate their boots. And from our side, from Total Clean, we've got a commercial space which he then runs which we've donated to him to use. So he uses that as his centralized hub and distribution center.
Getting straight into the guts of things, you know, I've got a list of questions that I've done some research with. Some of them I've got off forums on the internet of people that have been asking questions.
Yep.
One of them is, what sets your franchise apart from other cleaning businesses in the industry?
I think first and foremost, what separates us from our competitors is our longevity. We've been in business for 35 years. We've managed to survive a couple of major recessions and the old pandemic. And not only did we survive through those, we actually thrived. We're a flexible business, and it's not bound by bricks and mortar. If the service changes, we can go to where the service is required. So that, to me, is probably one of the major reasons why that we're a safe bet. But on top of that, we have got the certifications that are required to do business with the ISOs, safe contractors, you name it. We've gone through the whole auditing process of attaining those, and you need to have those in order to just get through the door. So the fundamentals that you need to survive and thrive in the commercial cleaning sector, we have.
If someone is interested in becoming a franchisee with Total Clean, what's the process that happens from somebody making an initial phone call or an inquiry through the website?
Not all companies suit individuals and vice versa. So
Sure.
there is a time frame in which we get to know each other, and I think that's important because we're not in the business of growing for cash. We grow for profit for the franchisee, because if the franchisee is profitable, obviously everybody wins. So it's a selection process that we go through. We ask questions of the franchisee prospect, and we encourage the franchisee prospect to ask as many questions about us as well. And we'll if he doesn't ask us enough, we'll say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Why don't you go back to our network and ask them how they feel about us as individuals or as a company, to get a full picture of who it is that you're getting into business with. Because we don't want to find that sometime down the line that this wasn't disclosed or that wasn't disclosed. I didn't know that this was going to happen. So we try and use the initial period to expose what it is that it entails to be a franchisee with us, and also about running a business, because a franchise, as a lot of people think, it's a magic wand that all of a sudden by joining you will be successful. It isn't that. What a franchise is a tool in order to help you be a better business, whatever the sector it is that you choose to be in. We happen to be in the commercial cleaning sector.
That brings me on to the next question about training and support. What training and support's offered to a new franchisee if they were to sign up with you?
Yeah, so the training and support that we provide at Total Clean is quite comprehensive. You probably find that we've got a collection of about 150 years worth of experience with the people that we have in our team. And I don't think that a franchisee would be faced with a cleaning issue that we haven't resolved ourselves. And that would be around floors, surfaces, windows, you name it. There's a number of things that a franchisee might come across that he'll scratch his head and think, whoa, how do I clean that? And we're only a phone call away, and we will have an answer on how to do that the most effective way, the right piece of equipment to use, and the right chemicals that will not damage that product.
What type of investment is required from, someone wanting to be a franchising, what's included in that investment?
Okay, so our investment starts at £20,000, and that's for what that gets you is all of the training, the intellectual property, the how-tos, the forms, the enterprise system that we have, which is a centralized management system.
Yep.
So that's the sort of the toolbox is what you're getting with that. And then the ongoing support. So that's what that initial investment gets you.
How does your franchise model ensure, though, that, profitability, for the franchisees that are signing up? If somebody's never done it before, how can they get profitable once they become a franchise compared to doing it on their own, basically?
Yeah, no, great question. No one knows how they're going to be profitable. But what I can say with commercial cleaning is that each contract that we put a proposal out for is a profit center in its own right. So the simple logic is the more contracts you have, the more profitable you're going to be. There isn't enough profit in just having one contract, unless it's a big one. But by and large, you need to have, say, up to, if you had about 100 contracts, for example, that equates to around about £1 million business. So, there is revenue to be made, but you still have to look after the pennies, and the pounds look after themselves. And that's what we will train you on, how to best price, where to go and get the best business from, because not all business is good business. We've got 35 years of experience of what not to do.
Sure.
So, take advantage of that experience, and you'll be successful.
Can someone who's never done it before, they've never been in business, they've never done cleaning, they want a fresh start, can somebody be successful that just doesn't have any experience?
I can safely say that our own selves weren't in cleaning before we started cleaning. No one started off being in cleaning. Every business that's successful in commercial cleaning did something else. And so you can start from not knowing. In our franchise network, our most successful franchisee started off as a baker. He was head of his baking department, knew nothing about business, and joined us. And when we found, in the initial discovery stages, he was so determined to make sure that he was going to make this a success. He and his wife mortgaged their home. And when we found out about that, we said, we have to now back this and make sure that this works, because we didn't want to have that on our conscience. So we worked hand in hand with Eric and his team. And, in a period of time now, he's in excess of £1 million turnover. He's a very successful businessman, and he's taken the practices that he learned from his baking background and applied those same principles into running his commercial cleaning business, plus taking the operational know-how that we showed him, and he's made a success out of it. And he doesn't look back now. He's so excited about every day that he's no longer in baking. So he's very excited about his future and how he's going to grow his business further.
And what are some of the challenges that franchisees face, that tend to hold them back at some points?
I think what happens in holding anyone back is that you fear what you don't know, and you get comfortable in the level that you perform at. Building a business is like walking up a set of stairs. There is times where you need to invest to rise and take your business to the next level. Then your business plateaus a little bit as revenue catches up to the investment that you make. So business is dynamic. It's never static. And for you to grow to whatever level you want to be at, you need to invest, grow, add into the funnel at the top, manage what happens to make sure that what you put in the top is being attended to and turns into a long-term project with the clients that you win. So that's how we train and coach. It's more a coaching, not a training thing that you then do. As you establish your business, we're like a mentor. We're finding out what it is that you want to do, where do you want to grow, and we'll show the person what you need to do in order to fill in that aspiration, because it won't happen by itself. It does require a plan, And winning business is not an event, it's a process. You've got to decide where you want to grow.
Sure.
Pick the areas that you want to grow in. Decide that you want to become that cleaning company of choice in those areas, and then put a cleaning marketing plan in place that allows you to achieve that end.
So that takes me to the next question of what does franchisees need to be doing to get success for themselves in order to get clients?
They need to profile themselves in the markets that they want to be in. No one will approach you if they don't know you. So the more people you talk to, the luckier you're going to be. And some people say that that's not for me. I really don't. Well, then you've got to. If you're not prepared to do it yourself, then employ someone that will do that for you. Because unless you do, you will start to fall backwards. There is a natural attrition in any business. We're not immune to that ourselves. You will lose clients as people change jobs. The relationship that you've formed with the office manager, for example, moves when that person moves. A new person comes in, he's got a relationship with a different cleaning company. And if you're not aware of that, you don't get in and form that relationship quick enough, you're going to lose that business.
And what type of sectors, are successful for Total Clean franchisees? What type of, is it commercial, offices, what type of sectors?
Yeah, so any company requires cleaning, and one of the downfalls you can have within our business is to think and try and do everything to all. You've got to decide which areas that you want to be in and become an expert in it. Over the years, we've found that we're quite successful in the medical area, in car showrooms, in office spaces, in the finance sector, and in the, what would you call those things? The consultancies like engineers, accountants, those types of people that have got high net worth individuals. They have client-facing offices that they need to promote themselves as being professional. So those are the people that we've identified as clients.
So you were talking about, hospitals and things.
Yeah.
How do people even get in the door to these places?
Great question. What you need to have is the accreditations that I talked about before, and to have a legacy of stories and referrals. Because don't take my word from it. Here's John, Mary, Edward. We've served them well over the years. These are the testimonies that they have. Our clients become our raving fans, and they become advocates of who it is and what we're about.
Our podcast shows are made possible thanks to our amazing sponsors. Now, we actually handpick each sponsor. They're not just anybody who chooses to be on our show. We think that these sponsors give you value and also have some quality information, products and services that would benefit you. So again, we wish to thank the sponsors for their investment in us, and we also want to thank you guys, our viewers, for watching.
Here at Total Clean, we strive to deliver high-quality commercial cleaning services to a wide area of the UK. We operate in 17 cities in the UK, providing efficient and reliable cleaning services to as many clients as possible. Franchise opportunities are also available. For further information, please visit www.totalclean.co.uk.
That takes me on then to the awards that Total Clean have received. Tell me about them.
Yeah, no, we've been fortunate in that we're pretty clued up on what we do, and there are awards out there that recognise work within our sector, and it's not that they're just given out willy-nilly. There's quite an in-depth audit process that goes through there to be considered for these awards. For example, we've just been finalised, or what do you call that, sift through to, we've been nominated by the British Institute of Cleaning Science.
Okay.
So, and we're a member of that the society or entity, and to be considered is a feather in our cap, because it means that we're doing something right. And that they approached us about it, so we had to fill in layers and layers of forms, and it all has to be. We can't just say what we want to say. It gets double checked against them, and we get measured.
A question I just want to throw back to something that's just came to my mind there. Have you ever been in a scenario where somebody's maybe applied for a franchise with Total Clean, and you just look at it and think, no, this guy's not going to make it, and turned them away?
Yes, and it's hard to turn away cash, but it's easy to turn away a potential challenge for that individual, because we've also got a conscience, and we don't want to put people into a place where, it's like if you've got a fear of water, and we're not going to, push you in and let you drown. And with the number of years that I've been in franchising, over 30 years, you sort of get an inkling as to who's got the grit of what it takes. And I tend to turn away more than I accept, for sure, because it's
That's unusual to hear.
I sleep well at night, and that's why. And I'm actually bloody good at what I do, and so is Total Clean. We've got a framework of franchisees that we haven't lost any.
I was going to say that. So I suppose by rejecting people to become a franchisee, you're reducing the risk of failure for Total Clean as well.
Yeah, but it's not about Total Clean. It's because what franchisee is, as I mentioned earlier, is that it's a tool, and we don't want to set people up to fail. It's more about the people than it is about us, because we're okay. We know what we're doing, and we know how to be successful in it, but it's not for everyone. And so we want to make sure that whoever comes on board has got the best chance to be the best business person they can be in the commercial cleaning sector.
Which is a great model.
Yeah.
Sustainability. I see on your website, sustainability and ESG. Tell us about this.
Yeah, well, so it's a big thing that's happening in the world today, where as much as we're all time poor, the amount of resources that we're burning through globally is an issue, and certainly anything that can reduce the amount of waste is important to us. We've adopted certain things and investigating certain things. Not all of it is good, but there's obvious stuff that we're testing at the moment. For example, on we just analysed the amount of in our chemicals that we have. Chemical cleaning is made up about 80% water. Okay. So we're spending a lot of time just transporting water. Why not transport the chemical and add the water at the source? So that reduces the amount of effort that it takes to get our chemicals around the length and breadth of the country, for example. Then there's other things like using solar panels. We've got them on our head office that then go into our chargers that then charge our electric fleet. So once again, we're using sustainable energy to then fuel our vehicles in which to get around and service the clients that we have. So we're mindful of all of these aspects. It's never static. Business is dynamic. There is a lot of things that are happening in the marketplace in the near future, and we will be adopting any of those aspects that come our way.
One of the things that I noticed as well, and we had a discussion about earlier, was when somebody signs up for a franchise, you were talking about Kickstart, which sounds phenomenal, where you guarantee some income or contracts for new franchisees. Tell us about that.
Okay, so when we first started franchising, we had an initial burst, and we looked at what we were doing in the franchise model. And we identified that one of the biggest barriers to people coming into business is how to get business. So we looked at developing a new way of how to help remove that anxiety with the new incumbents or investors in our business. And we came up with the Kickstart idea. What that does is that for an amount of money, depending on what level you want to invest in, for example, if you, over and above your initial franchise fee, if you wanted to invest £10,000 extra to help kickstart your business, for that $10,000, we will guarantee to go out and win an annualized value of business up to £90,000.
So for 10,000, you get 90,000 return.
you get 90,000 in revenue back from that investment, and we guarantee to get it for you within 12 months. If we fall short of that
I was going to say that's a
target.
I was going to say that's a tall order to meet, and if you fell short, then what were you going to say?
Yeah, so let's say the sort of annualized, the monthly invoice value of that was, let's pick a figure. Let's say it's £9,000.
Sure.
And on month 13, we are saying that you should be invoicing that £9,000. All right. If you're short on that by, let's say, 4,000, what we'll do on month 13 is that we'll double that shortfall as our penalty for not meeting our guarantee. So there's a win-win for the franchisee, and there's a win for us in that we're on the hook. We're not just a bystander. We're driven to make sure that you get that business as soon as possible.
So there's a whiteboard in the office, and it's month 11, and somebody's like, guys, somebody's going to lose their wages next month if we have to double this up.
Yeah.
No, that's a great model and a great incentive for somebody to sign up. So do you get people that sign up just because of that incentive of that Kickstarter?
Yes, and it's worked in the last since I've joined. We've grown the business by 50% because of the Kickstart system, and it is working well. We have not missed a guarantee, which is great because my name's always up on the board, so I make sure that we get there. One of the great stories that we have just recently is that one of the franchisees was that unsure of how they were going to get business, that they said, okay, you say you're as good as what you say you are, here's 30,000, and I had to go out and find 300,000+ pounds worth of business within 12 months.
Wow.
And I did it in 7.
You did it in 7.
There we go.
Wow, that's what you call hustling.
No, that's fair enough.
But that's fantastic. Nearing the end, talk to me about technology moving forward. When I was in your offices, I saw this robot, which looked phenomenal. And to me, the first thing it said to me was time. That's going to save time, which is a commodity in life. Tell me about that.
Well, technology is certainly going to be changing as we move forward. I think that I can liken it to, if you look through business through time, we started off as being nomads, and 1,000 years ago past, and then someone decided, oh well, here's some wheat next to the river, let's plant some of that, and then we became farmers.
Sure.
And about 600 to 700 years later, we can grow cotton. Let's industrialize this, and so the industrialized age happened, and that has, in the space of 100 years to 150 years, it changed the way the world thinks. Now we're in the technology age, and it's likened to when you take off in a plane, you've got to be changing the jet engines whilst in flight. And that's how fast business is changing, and how much we need to evolve so to just stay ahead. And there are many aspects in technology that are changing every industry, and we're not excluded from that, and robotics is one of those. At the moment, robotics are quite expensive, and not every project warrants to have robotics applied to it, but the cost of those are coming down. The implementation of them are becoming more widespread, and there are other purposes that they can do. So we're mindful of those, and we have got certain projects where those robotics are being applied to. It's in the likes of schools and hospitals where there's long corridors, where there's the vacuuming and polishing and scrubber drying. We can just put the robots out there, and then our staff then can follow in behind that and do the detailed cleaning. But it means that, for example, at a school, we can have the robots out and running all through the night. And so that when our cleaners come in the morning before the school starts, we can detail the cleaning of what was missed, get into cleaning in the classrooms, and then just re-detail the toilets. So the environment of the school cleaning is going up a notch for sure, and it's working well for us. So we're just mindful of those things.
Okay, what's the future vision of the Total Clean franchise, and where do franchisees play a part in this?
Well, the future for us is to adapt artificial intelligence into how we do stuff. There are a lot of things by the way that we communicate with our clients, the way that we time keep on our operatives out there, because as you can imagine, if we're spread over 100 different contracts, the franchisee can't be at every place at every time. But at his fingertips, he can know where everybody is. He can then schedule their times. If someone wants to go on holiday, we can actually even get to the point where that location is, we know the employees that are within 1 mile radius of that. So let's say that John wants to go on holiday in 2 weeks' time. We just then send out a message to the 5 or 6 other employees that are within that area and say, there's a shift coming available, which one of you guys would like to take it up? So we're able to create efficiencies in managing of staff, as an example of how technology is improving. Our centralized Total Clean enterprise system is always being upgraded. We're making that more and more a one-stop hub idea of a cradle of information that the franchisee has, from putting in a quotation into the system, from marketing communications and setting out campaigns through the system, and then converting to quotes and invoicing, as well as then sending out the purchase of chemicals to the supplier to then deliver to the site direct, and then feeding into the invoicing system. So it's everything is about saving time. So the idea for the benefit to the franchisee is that he's got more time to spend in front of potential new business, to feed into the funnel, to allow his business to grow from strength to strength.
Last question. Anybody watching is interested in becoming a franchisee? Who do they get in touch with? What do they do?
Yeah, okay. If anybody is interested in joining us or wanting to find out more about Total Clean, the simple thing to do is just drop us a line. And my email address is ronan@totalclean.co.uk. Doesn't get simpler than that. So once again, let me repeat that. It's Ronan, RONAN, @totalclean.co.uk. And I will get back to you within 24 hours.
Ronan, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the podcast. I know you've come a long way to come and do it, but I think it's great that, the opportunity is there. It's good to have a company. I've learned quite a lot, a company that can actually, like you say, somebody gave you £30,000 and you had to go and get, 300 grand's worth of business, and you did it in 7 months. It's great that support's there, because you don't often see that in a lot of franchises. I see a lot of the time, you join a franchise, you pay the money, you're left to your own devices, and then they're struggling. And it's like, yeah, we can help you and teach you, but we can't make you do it. The fact that you go out and do it, I actually never knew was a thing that franchisors did for franchisees. So for that aspect, I think that's a golden nugget that people should really look at, if they're inexperienced in marketing or sales, to get that wee bit further, that you can take them there. But listen, I'll let you get back to London.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the podcast again, and keep in touch.